Hello, hello. Welcome for another episode of the Author Spotlight. I'm so excited to be with you today for another episode. Hey, we have a woman here. Oh man, this woman, it's just so much to this woman. I can't tell you enough. I was able to speak with this woman. She's an author, she's a lawyer, she's an entrepreneur, she's a wife, she's a child of God. She's a Southern Belle at the same time. She has a lot going on. But before I bring her in, I just want to share a little bit about her bio. I can't do all of a bio, because we'll be on here all day just for the bio. But as a successful family law attorney, an active community member, Andrea M. Harvey is passionate about helping others to achieve success both in and out of the courtroom. Andrea M. Harvey has developed a reputation as a highly trusted and successful attorney, as well as a strong and reliable figure in the community. Andrea graduated from Mercer University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in English literature, minoring in business administration and African American studies. She received her Juris Doctor from the University of Arkansas School of Law. After graduating from law school, she worked in the corporate sector for many years before opening her own law firm, Harvey Law Office, which is focused exclusively on family law matters. Now, in addition to running her own law practice, Andrea enjoys sharing her legal knowledge related to family law with the community. Her podcast and video series, Harvey Law Speaks, serves as a platform for Andrea to answer frequently asked legal questions and help people understand their legal rights in the area of family law. Now, I shared just a little bit about your bio, Ms. Harvey, but please fill in any of the gaps that I might have left out for our audience.
Oh, wow. I think that about covers it. I'm a lawyer. I'm a speaker and a new author. I like to cook, even though I don't cook as much as I usually like to do because I'm so busy lawyering and speaking. And I love gardening. That's actually my hobby. I'm so excited about the change in the seasons because it's almost gardening season here in Chicago. So yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. Oh, and I'm a dog mom. I have 2 fur babies.
Just for the record, are they spoiled or not?
They are spoiled.
Oh, okay. I was just about to check in there. I know that's a good mom. I know it's gonna be some spoiling in there when it comes to some mom.
Yeah.
And Ms. Harvey, could you please share with us with your background? I mean, you could have went so many ways on this first book, Faith in the Law. Why this book as your first book? Could you explain that to the audience?
Yes, I think for me, this book was one of those books that I had to put out first because if I didn't put it out, I don't think I ever would have. As you'll notice in the book, I kind of talk about how this book was really based on journal entries, like as I was opening my practice and making the decision to open my practice and run a business. And so what I found was like my story it was just another chapter, but it's almost like a series, and so as I saw myself kind of shift from a business person in infancy, a business person in toddler. Sometimes I think I have like a cranky teenager business now. I felt it was time to kind of close that series and move into, this next phase of my life and my business as well.
And you know what? That's interesting. And I just want to just take a pause real quick with our audience. With Ms. Harvey, it's not like that she just sought out to when she was just journaling or writing that she had this grandiose plan that the book was going to be, that it was even a book at first. Just look at what you have and find that buried treasure. I like to share that. Now, I just want to take that pause because those who are listening and looking for hints and looking for clues on how they can reach the goal or be able to accomplish what you accomplished, Andrea Harvey. I want them to understand the importance of it might be something that's right up under you. It might be something in that journal that you had even from high school or from college that you might have just had poems in there, or just putting your thoughts or how you overcame a situation that you use it to be as just something that's fun or that was therapeutic for you. That might be that door to walk through to at least get started with getting your book done. And and speaking of getting the book done and being looked at as an author, because for one, you're a lawyer, you're an entrepreneur, you're a wife. There's so many titles that you have. And when we look at that, what are some things that you do with the schedule that you have? Because we have excuses, Andrea. We have excuses. But when I'm looking at you with a private practice, married, you're a part of your community, you got so many other things. We didn't even listen. I'm telling y'all, we didn't get close to listen to what all Andrea does. So with that being said, for all of us out there, including me, who have excuses why we can't get something done, please tell us what gives you the most productivity as far as your writing?
So writing for me, I've been writing, I have been journaling since I was a child. I was always a very avid reader. My parents can tell you, particularly my mom, she would take my brother and me to the library during the summertime, and they would have like these summer reading lists. And so they would always have like, okay, if you're in the first grade, these are the books on your summer reading list. And if you're on the second grade, these are the books on your summer reading list. And so anyway, I would get to the books for my age and I would be like reading. I would literally go through the books in like a week. And my mom would be like, you did not read those books that fast. And so I was like, yes, I did. So then we would go in and my mom would like say, well, these are the suggested reading for your age. And I'm like, but mom, those books are too easy. So I was like reading like way far ahead of my age range, suggested by the library. But what happened was I came across the Diary of Anne Frank. And so everyone knows about that book. And so I was just so intrigued by the fact that this little girl's diary had turned into like this best-selling book that had been sold for, all of these years, and it's still being sold today. And so I decided, I don't know, I was probably 7 or 8 years old. I was like, I'm going to keep a journal, and one day my journal is going to be sold all over the world and whatever. And so I started journaling from that age. So I've been keeping a journal since like 7 or 8 years old. And so anyway, what happened was as I got older, I would go back to those journals and I'd look and see. So say like today, on a day, I would go back to like 5 years ago to see what I was writing about and talking about. And so that's kind of like what happened with my firm. As I was starting my firm, I was keeping a journal, and then like a year or so passed and I would go back and I'm like, man, I can't believe I was worried about that, a year ago or 2 years ago. So that's kind of like how I became an unofficial author. But to your question about how I find the time, journaling is therapeutic for me. And so it's how I get my thoughts out. And so it kind of served in two roles because I do a lot. Sometimes I look at my schedule and I'm like, this is not realistic, but I always find time to write.
And I like what you sharing there, Andrea, the importance of that last comment, finding time to write. Finding time. If you show me what your schedule is, you show me where you're spending the most time, and I can tell you and show you what's most important to you in life. And so for those of you out there who are listening, because I'm telling you, Andrea has a lot on her plate. She has a lot on her plate, and she's a humble young lady, and so you would never just tell you that, okay, yeah, I do have stuff going on, but a lot of us think we have stuff going on. That's really not a lot going on. I'm not talking about you just taking selfies all day. I'm not knocking the selfies, what I'm saying? I'm not hit one myself. But at the same time, I'm just saying that you, with nothing else to do, just texting somebody. This woman has a lot on her plate. I said a few of them again. she's a wife. She has a business that she's running. She has a staff. She has a podcast. I mean, she has responsibility for her clients. And I know Andrea can attest to this, that it's even though you might want it to be from a certain time, a lot of times without you setting those boundaries up, it can overflow. It can go from when you're supposed to be out of your office hours, your operating hours, to now all of a sudden you have an issue that you have to deal with, a fire that you have to put out that goes past your desired time for as your office hours. So when we look at this and see what this woman has on her plate, we must understand at the end of the day, you're going to have to make the time. If it's important to you, it's not her husband's fault. It's not her fur baby's fault. It's not her staff fault. It's not her client's fault. If she wants to get a book done, she has to take the time and say, you know what? This is a non-negotiable right here. And for those of you out there, you have to realize and come up with the non-negotiables for you and create those boundaries for your own writing time and make sure that you adjust and make sure that you do what you need to do, because somebody is dependent on your story. And when I'm talking about stories, could you share with us a little bit of what's been your experience as far as your thoughts about being an author? How do you view that? How do you view now that you actually got it done? Or let's put it this way. What made you believe, even I know you was a writer, what made you believe that you could write a book when so many had failed at the task? Let's put it that way.
Well, I think what it was, I've been writing, but I didn't call myself an author. Okay. And then I was speaking, but I didn't call myself a speaker. And what was happening was the topics that I was talking about were a lot of the things in my book. Or people would always ask me like, well, how did you start your law firm? And I would just be like, do you have about 3 weeks so I can sit down and talk to you about this? So I never felt like I could properly tell my story in just one sitting or in one speech. And so that's kind of like how I kind of fell into being an author. Like I said, I've been writing since I was a child. So I guess I was always an author, but that title itself, it felt a little heavy to me. And then when I looked at all of my materials and I'm like, I got a book. I didn't even realize I had a book. But, as I looked at the chapters of my journal, I'm like, I actually have a book here. And so that's how I kind of fell into being an author. I don't think I really was like, all right, I'm going to write a book today, or I'm going to write a book this year. Because this book, it's been such a labor of love. And it's always also been, I will admit, a little fearful for me because I'm stepping into a new kind of arena. And when you're a perfectionist, you always want to like raise the bar. You want to like sell 1 million books or something crazy. So there was that hesitance, this book has been done, but it's like, oh, I need to add one more chapter, one more this, one more that, and just saying, all right, just take your hands off of it and then release it.
And I can't believe that you said you're a perfectionist.
That's sarcasm.
That's behind the scenes. That's what y'all get on the author spotlight for. But now we behind the scenes now. I told you that we professional, but we know how to get behind the scenes. So we go.
Can we talk about how many times me and you got into arguments about the fact that I was not ready for my book to come out? No, but you need somebody, what I will say, and I'm going to say this too, I understand that this is, your platform, but Darren didn't ask me to say this, but I needed a Darren in my life because this book would have just been sitting there, and I needed somebody to just keep pushing me. And because I'm a perfectionist, number one, but I'm also used to being in charge. I don't take kindly to people telling me what to do. I will naturally push back because that's what I'm going to do. But, me and Darren, we push, he would push. And then sometimes I would push him completely away. I'm like, leave me alone. And you would leave me alone, and then just like my normal way, like 3 months later, I'd be like, all right, Darren, I'm ready for the book again. I always say I'm probably your least favorite / most favorite client ever.
But you know what? What she's bringing up is important in the process. And for those of you out there, you think that you're the only one. You think you're the only one who want to like, do I need to put this out? Do you think you're the only one that's facing fear? And that's why that's imperative that you get someone, experts around you, or a support system that's telling you like, man, I'm seeing how talented this young lady, even with the speaking. We was able to have her at a conference that was at. It was like, man, this lady is talented. But you have to have people around you who don't mind say, you know what? I think that you are extraordinary. I think that you are phenomenal, or woman or man or whatever. And I don't care how you take it. So I know it might make you uncomfortable because you might not want to take on that role or take on that title, whatever it may be, quote unquote. But you got to have people to say, you know what, I'm speaking life into you because I feel like it was my fiduciary responsibility because someone spoke life into me. Now, when I was seeing these traits and the characteristic in the character that she had, and I just said, I can't let this go. It was something that was innate spiritually. You know, I know what it was, the prompting of the spirit that was telling me, it was bigger than me. I can't even take credit for it because something was telling me, you have to stick with her. It's something that she's going to be used as a vessel for, and you're going to have to be the one who get some knots on your head like Martin when he got in the ring that time, knots on your head. You know, so she put them beads on. Don't let that sweet taste fool you. She can fight. Girl got some fight. You know? I took some knots on my head, but at the end of the day, you know, the thing is so many people are going to be helped and blessed by this. And so that's what I want to share with you as well. Extract out of that is get the right support system, because a lot of you are quitting and you never get back to it because you don't have someone who's willing to say, hey, you know what? I still think you're great. I still think you need to do this. And this is the way that we can go there together. And speaking of having that done, what is your feeling of when you let go and let God, so to speak, and you realize, okay, like it's done now. Like I'm moving forward. I'm looking at lunches. I'm looking at, you know, celebrating this. What has been your feel? And for those who know about it, what has been your experience as far as their response to you knowing that you've done it, from like your husband to colleagues or whatnot?
People have been so positive. The response has been very positive, and all of them like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to read the book. I can't wait to hear about it. I can't wait to go to the book launch. I mean, it's been one of those things where the response is positive, and even still, I'm still like apprehensive. I'm like, oh gosh, maybe I should cancel the whole thing and push it off till next year. But I realized that I just have to go for it. Like, and that's the thing. I am understanding that I have to go for it. I was watching this video last night. And I don't know if it's old, by Will Smith, and he was talking about the experience of bungee jumping and how it's like that 1 second when you're out of the plane and then the parachute has not come up and you're like looking at the ground and you're going down so fast. And he was saying how that split second is so freeing. And so that's how I feel right now. Like, I feel like somebody just pushed me out of the plane and I know that a parachute is about to come up, but I'm like looking at the ground and I'm just like, well, hey, we out here now, you know? So that's kind of how I feel right now. It's just more like I know that there's something good coming on the other side of it. And I'm a person of completion, you know? So I'm just glad that I've completed the journey.
That's amazing. Making sure that you complete, you must understand that execution is key, is worship. And you have to understand that the importance of you finishing something is imperative. Do not be the person that never finishes anything. They always got a bright idea, but they never complete anything.
Finish it.
And they never finish. And so when we look at this, more importantly, I just want to bring this to the audience, that Miss Harvey is on this show because she finished something. She completed a task. She did it with her law degree. She's moving forward with her marriage. She's moving forward, expanding with her company. She's moving forward, helping people. This is what it's all about. So that's why I had to have her on. I wanted her on the Author Spotlight. You must be willing to persevere. You have to persevere through some things. You have to get those. It's a group effort. It's a team effort, but it starts with you. And so that's why I'm so grateful to have Miss Harvey on to be able to share her expertise and experience, because these are transferable skills. These are transferable skills. So what she utilized to get the book done, she has utilized to become a lawyer. She's using it in her she's using it in her marriage. Would you agree with that, Ms. Harvey, about the transferable skill?
Yeah, absolutely. A few years ago, 3 years ago, this year will be 3 years, I lost a friend of mine, and it was just shocking, and I remember sitting at the funeral, and of course everybody was crying, and I remember just looking at like his casket and just thinking about all the things that we had talked about that he was unable to accomplish because his life unfortunately ended. I guess it was God's timing. But I remember saying to myself on that day, I promised myself, I said, if anybody comes to my funeral, I don't want them to sit there and look at, my casket and think, man, she had so much more stuff to do, And so that's really important to me, to finish the task. I mean, it's not something that you can like half do. You have to finish the task every day. And I've gotten as to where I operate in every area of my life. Just as simple as like, okay, you see that piece of paper on the floor, like, let's just pick it up and put it in the trash. Like it's that small, but it's also as big as you have a bunch of stuff that you need to get through today. Do not leave the office until you get it done, And so I'm trying to get as to where I finish the task in every area of my life, because it really does transfer. The little thing you forget to do today is the big thing that you forget to do tomorrow, And so just being more appreciative of the moment and being in the moment and understanding the impact of today on tomorrow.
Girl, I'm telling you, you got me about ready to run through a wall. Girl, I'm telling you, I got to get her to speak. You see how she just laid that down so cool? I mean, that just hit us in the head. I mean, she went with the little Will Smith video. We need the Andrea Harvey video. I mean, she got me fired. I'm looking at it right now. Where can I find a piece of paper at? Let me find. I got something right here. I'm picking it up right now. I'm telling you, I'm finding. But that is so true. When you understand the importance, that's why she's a change agent. That's why she's a planet shaker, because she makes sure that she's faithful to a few things, is why she's ruler over many. And I love that. Could you share with our audience, please, handles, social media handles, website information, how they can connect with you and follow and subscribe to the podcast? Anything that you have available, please share it with us right now if you don't mind.
Yes, I have a bunch of handles. So my Instagram is Andrea M Harvey Esquire, and that's Andrea M HARVEYESQ. And so on there, I share articles and videos and legal tidbits, and I talk about celebrity news. Everybody loves my celebrity gossip. I also have the Harvey Law Speaks podcast, which I am on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio. And so you can find me there. And you can also find my website, AndreaMHarvey.com. And so if you go there, you can get to my Instagram. You can also, hear my podcast. But I would love if you liked and subscribe to my podcast. I get a lot of comments and people are asking me all the time to answer little legal questions. And so I'm open to talk to you about family law and then on a practical side of it as well.
Awesome. That's what I'm talking about. Make sure you connect with her. Also, I'm going to put her out there on blast. Make sure that y'all connect with her to have her do some keynotes. Please have her come and speak. I know she didn't put that out there. Have her come and speak, whether it's for your class, for your association, for a corporate event. I'm guaranteed that she will give some value that your organization needs. And speaking of that, a value needed. Could you speak to that person out there, Andrea Harvey, who's looking at you right now? Man, she graduated from Mercer. She has a law degree. She has her own practice. She has, this marriage. She has so much going on. they can see you writing a book, but could you share with that individual who's saying that, I'm not Andrea Harvey, I'm not Steve Harvey, I'm not Oprah, I'm not Warren Buffett, I'm not Bill Gates. I have a story that I want to share. Could you share with them the importance of, no matter who they are, where they come from, why it's important that they still share their story with the world?
Yes, because we don't go through what we go through just for us. We go through what we go through to help somebody else. And your story, somebody's literally waiting on your story to save their life. And we don't realize how impactful our story can be. It's not always about selling 1,000,000 books and getting on the bestsellers list, but there is somebody out there that can benefit from hearing your story. So anybody that believes that they have a story in their heart, or they're just like me, they have a whole bunch of journal entries that they can turn into a book, please make it happen, because I promise you, somebody is depending on your story right now. You have no idea who you can inspire, not just today, but years from now.
I love that. I love that. Love that. Thank you so much, Miss Harvey. Miss Harvey took time out of her schedule. This is her day off. And so she took time. And so I had no boundaries with Miss Harvey. So we're going to let her get out so she can get out. I don't want no knots in my head. We done got out this far. We done come this far by faith. We can't turn around. We can't turn around. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on. And I want to thank our audience as well for coming on as well, because you are the true and the real MVPs by listening to Miss Harvey, following the information and the steps that she's given us, those tangible steps. I guarantee you can carry your life to the next level. So you can catch this episode and others at selfpublisherletterin30days.com, or go to DMP Enterprises on our YouTube page, or you can do that every Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. But make sure that you just stay in contact with me and my staff. We'll make sure that you get to the right place. Ms. Harvey, once again, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Until next time, be blessed and be great.